I have to say, you are the most welcoming bunch of people I've ever heard. You're so wonderfully loud, and that's beautiful. And I'm really sorry to hear about your granddad. He sounds like an absolute legend.
Yeah, he was.
On my bio that I've been sending to events recently where I've been booked or whatever, I said that I've been writing a collection about the death of my father, who died at the end of last year. And basically, I did that, handed it in, and then all the emotions came. Not that the emotions weren't there before, they were obviously there before, but like after forcing it for a year writing poems, I actually basically have decided to sort of give those poems a break. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm actually doing this set to sort of cheer myself up. And this is going to be a nice one, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Even though I keep advertising myself as the one with dead dad poetry, I'm just not going to do it. Well, we've got a little one, but it's not really sad. So if that's okay with everyone.
Yes.
So I'm actually going to start with one about my little sister, which is the one poem that I have done here before because I was invited to be here as part of International Women's Day, which was amazing, and decided to celebrate my sister. And this is called Something to Dream About. Do you remember when we shared a room? We had separate sides and separate CD players. You played Busted and I played McFly, but we both loved Air Hostess, obviously. Do you remember every time we'd sing Britney full-lunged, our beds one on top of the other, performing to the ceiling until we were shouted into silence? Do you remember Blanky, the red, green, grey, crocheted best friend that lived on your bed and came on holiday with us? Do you still have her? I still have Princess. She sits still on my pillows, watching over my room when I'm gone, and I still whisper secrets to her. Do you remember dreaming? You never struggled to sleep, but I sometimes needed help, so I'd ask you for something to dream about. You'd ask me for my favourite colour, which was mostly always purple, and tell me to dream of a purple world, so I did. The skies and roofs purple, the walls and floors purple. There was a purple you and a purple me, McFly wore purple too. We only ate purple broccoli and aubergines. We drank Ribena, ate grape-flavoured sweets, and smelled of Parma violets. What else do you remember? Because my memories are dropping like old post-its, and I write and stick, but they still manage to peel away. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I miss you, and I need something to dream about. Thanks, guys. Yeah, something I've never told an audience at a gig about for that is my sister's called Isabel. So is mine! So when I say, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I've actually spelt that I-Z as in Izzy, because I'm a twat. Right. Don't applaud that. It doesn't deserve it. But yeah, so you mentioned Chenin Blanc in your poem.
I think I pronounced it wrong, but anyway.
Whatever, it's totally cool. And it's just made me like grieve for wine. So at the moment, I'm doing Stoptober, and if you don't tell people that you're doing Stoptober, are you actually doing Stoptober? You've got to tell people about it. And I've given up smoking and drinking for the month. It's going horribly. No, I'm doing it, I've done it, I've stuck to it, but I just hate it. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I bought my little fundraising pot with me. I'm raising money for Action on Addiction, which is something that my dad struggled with before he passed away. If you do have any spare change, lob it in my pink pot, that would be amazing. If not, don't panic, no judge. Okay. So, enough of that. On my little happiness train, I'm going to talk about the night I met my fiancé. And that is because it's coming up to Halloween, so I can bring this poem out again. This is when Justin Bieber met Father Christmas. It was a cold, dark, autumnal night on All Hallows Eve. when the rebels and revellers took to the streets searching for tricks, treats, conquests and sweets. On the river that curves through the dark heart of the city, there is a pirate ship, haunted by the memories and regrets of all who venture there. This is where we met. I was just in drag as Justin Bieber. I wore a flat-peaked cap, high-top shoes, a hoodie, and not a scrap of makeup. And my hair swept across my face, serving true 2010 Biebs realness. On the crowded upper deck, I followed newfound friends to a corner to roll cigarettes badly. I turned to the nearest table and recited the eternally seductive spell of "Can I borrow a lighter?" And he said yes. He wore a Father Christmas onesie that was on sale in Primark, spattered with face paint and fake blood. Half of Thekla had done the same. And I thought, boy, you should go and love yourself. I'd describe his face, but honestly I couldn't tell what he looked like, but he had eyes that smiled easily. And we talked and we talked and we laughed and we smoked. When my then boyfriend was mentioned, I wondered if it was too late now to say sorry. And he said, "What do you mean?" You see, he didn't disappear, melting into the woodwork like so many other men, didn't string me a line of "if I was your boyfriend." He just talked to me like I was an actual person. And I was one less lonely girl, and I was like, baby, I'm wondering, can we still be friends with no ulterior motive? So we talked and talked and laughed and smoked. Someone snapped a pic of us and we were captured by the flash of awkward smiles and face paint. Until I said, baby, it's cold outside. But not in the spike your drink kind of way. So we said goodbye and I tottered off to dance with newfound friends that I don't talk to anymore. And a few months later, then boyfriend was long gone. If it hadn't been for that photo on Facebook, we'd have never found each other. It was just the two of us for the first time. And I farted, just to see his reaction. And he laughed. A few years later, and we have a house now, and we talk, and he vapes and I lie about giving up. I'm not lying, I don't give up. This isn't a scary story. It's not a grand romantic love. It's just us. And a story of what happens when you talk to people like they're people, not things to be won or lost or owned, just people, just us. Just a girl dressed as Justin Bieber, and a boy dressed as Father Christmas. Thanks very much. We have been officially together for 7 years in February. It's weird. I met him when I was 18. You do the math to work out how old I am now. It's really young. And we have like a house and a cat, and it's so weird and great because he's awesome. He's my best friend, and I can talk to him about anything, and it's great. And I'm just focusing on my happiness, and I'm sorry if anyone's going through anything shit and they're like, Josie, why do you keep talking about that? It's just because sometimes when you're going through the shitty things, you need to focus on the good things, and that's what I'm doing right now. This is another one about Trey, and it's just about how you can find comfort in people, and how you can also find comfort in food. Yeah. And this is called Crispy Peking Duck. It's not my proudest title because it's also the first line, and help me come up with a better title. That's your challenge for this evening. Crispy Peking Duck has always been my favourite. When we ordered takeaway, we hid ourselves away, closed the door, lit the lamps, pulled the curtains, shut out the rest of the world. We ignored trivial outside worries such as university, deadlines, rent and friends. We focused on the important things, like Lego Lord of the Rings, which episode of House we'd watch next, and the proper ratios of duck to cucumber to sauce, and the structural integrity of the pancake. We were at home with each other. Your place or mine didn't matter. Your smile spread to your eyes so close they closed around me, and your mouth beamed so wide it became my horizon. And we built worlds in there, entire universes crafted from mountainous bedsheets. We told tales over crispy Peking duck. Regaled tall tales, folding origami pancakes, we created ourselves many features. You'd talk of all the places we would go, all the things we would buy, and I would just laugh and smile and agree, but I just couldn't see beyond the twilight outside of our own orb of light I'd convinced myself was only temporary. But then you'd take my hand, give it a small squeeze, ask if I'm okay, search my eyes for the darkness that lay there, and offer me the last pancake. That was years ago, and so much has changed except you. You're still here, holding my hand. And those things that bothered us then, they don't bother us anymore. Things should be okay. But sometimes I don't feel at home in our own bed. I can't see through fear. The horizons are shrinking. My tummy ties itself in knots. My heart drops and leaves a void where the future should be. My tongue grows too thick and I can't ask for help. It's all too much. It's all too much. It's all too much. Please, let's just stop. Let's hide ourselves. Let's close the door. Let's get crispy Peking duck and watch an episode of House we've seen before. And you can have the last pancake. It's weird, like I wrote that bloody long time ago, and it's almost like come full circle, like, university's a worry again, how did that happen? Yeah, I did have a 4-year gap between my undergrad and doing the masters, and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, going back to uni, gonna live the student life, which is hard to do when you've got a fucking mortgage. But sorry, really bitter. Then your dad dies and it all just goes to fucking shit. Anyway, sorry, positive set. This is a happy set. This is about us again. I'm sorry, all my happy poems are about him, and I'm sorry to be like, look at my love, look at how happy I am. I once got up at a Valentine's Day open mic in Bristol and got booed. It was a spotlight, and everyone had been, like, the theme was love, and so everyone was like talking about their heartbreak. And I got up going, mine's about my boyfriend, and everyone just sat there going, boo! So I'm sorry, you can boo me afterwards if that's how you feel. We go to Glastonbury every year. We've been 4 years in a row. We got tickets again this year, absolutely buzzing. And this is about a photo that was taken of us, and it's really beautiful, and it sits above my desk. And I wrote a poem about the photo, and imaginatively it's called Photograph of Us, June 2017. Sun cream and dry shampoo at the other stage, carrying disposable cameras and pink flamingos with sun-kissed smiles and glittery cheeks. We drank water bottles filled with wine, had breakfast out of a cardboard box with compostable cutlery, served with warm cans of cheap lager. A curve of crimson clementine lilac flags marched away to the right, an almost straight tree-lined horizon with a house on the hill, silver haze and blurred edges. In the middle of it all is us, all hugs and kisses, staring out at their older reflections, wondering what on earth happened in the year. Thank you. So I did that thing where I took my bookmark out. I'll get into the page, which was potentially dangerous. So this is the one poem that is about what happened with my dad. Well, no, it's more about the fallout afterwards, basically. Context for the relationship, I've already mentioned he was an alcoholic. He was also abusive, which made grieving for him really weird. And I still, like, don't get me wrong, still miss him, that happens, it's gonna happen. But, like, every day's a bit different. You've got to deal with every day as it happens. But one of the things that I always got recommended whenever your mental health's a bit bad or you can't sleep or whatever, exercise. Just run the pain away. But like weirdly it does help, and genuinely it does, because I know, I just sort of go, oh why? But mainly if you just sort of tucker yourself out and make yourself a bit sleepy, you will go to sleep. So exercising does help, at least for me anyway. And this is called an exercise in how to move on. I find running helps. It feels like halfway between positive and punishing. And recently the past has been catching up. I've been pounding the pavements in unsupportive footwear, telling myself that sanity lies in the 10-minute mile that I just can't reach when I've been smoking the tobacco you left behind. There's certainly a high after the first 10k, and my body buzzes with the love of it, but the beer's necked in celebration smell of you. But it doesn't last. I end up blistered. At night, I tighten and ache, my hips scream, knees burn, ankles cry. But my brain finally stops running, lies quiet, and sleeps. Which I guess is all I wanted. Thank you. So we're going to end on a high. I didn't want to leave you with exercise. So this is a poem I actually wrote for Tonic, which is an event in Bristol where they give you a prompt. And I was invited to do the scratch for their first event, and then, like a horrendous human being, have not been back to any of their other events because I'm just an arsehole. And it's just difficult, you know? And it's just always something. Anyway, last week it was actually scaring my dad's ashes, so I feel like that is a good excuse. Anyway, this is about a picture, again, that I got, and it was a photo of some gold high heels. And it reminded me of all the silly things that people do to make themselves look/feel pretty. And this is sort of generally aimed at the more feminine things that people do. I'm not trying to say that just women put on makeup and corsets, that's totally legit, but yeah. And men do silly things to make themselves feel pretty too, but this is more about what I do. And it's called Gold Satin Pumps. RuPaul says, your poem's going to be good. You're born naked and the rest is drag. But I haven't worn heels in years. Swapped them for fat trainers and fancy flats when I realised that towering above my friends was not worth the band me on ice routine or the blisters. The same goes for underwired bras. They fucking hurt and I got fed up with pushing my tiny titties into places they didn't belong. I bought Spanx once, the Primark version. I'm not made of money. I bought them so I wouldn't get a VPL in a fancy dress, but they didn't get past my thigh, so I went commando. Hair removal is no longer a priority either. Disposable razors are bad for the planet and shaving is so boring. I've learned to become attached to my body hair, which is a fucking ridiculous thing to say, because you are literally attached to your body hair. But tonight I want to feel extra fabulous. So bring me my gold satin pumps. I will cover my body in shaving cream and make myself as smooth as a baby's bottom. I will wear stockings, suspenders, and the frilliest, least practical pants the world has ever seen. Bring me a corset and my big booby push-up bra. Let me squeeze myself into the shape of desire. I will contour my nose, redraw my brows, overline my lips, and highlight for the gods. Because I want to draw myself a new face. Because I want to sashay out of my life and into someone else's just for a night. I'm doing this because I can. Just because I want to. Because self-esteem is exhausting, but god damn do I make this look good. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And tonight, I'll be holding myself. Thank you.